Now I was watching a video of Gone Tropical. She's a lady in South Wales. She's unwrapped her bananas. And I was thinking, maybe I really ought to have a look at mine, because she seems sort of fairly confident there isn't going to be any frost for a few weeks. I had a look at the weather, 2 weeks we've got frost free apparently, only going down to about 3. So these will easily withstand 3 degrees. These will go down to about -8. And I'm beginning to wonder whether they're rotting, because this is what I'm really worried about underneath here, because they are getting a bit mushy just on the top, and it's been such a wet year that I really want to uncover these and have a look and see what's happening. Now, I say we're at the end of February. I've never unwrapped them this early before, but it's such an unusual year, and we haven't really had anything that hard. I think we had about a -5, -6. I'm going to take this off and have a look. And they've been growing. All the seasons going a bit brown. Get rid of that. And the straw, other years it stayed fairly dry, but I've just done the ones around the front, and they're absolutely soaking the straw, and this could be a problem. And you can see it's starting to rot here. Look, it's gone all mushy, and this is no good at all. So, oh dear, it's so heavy. Of course, the question is always what to do with the straw. It's very, oh, the grass is growing in there. Because it takes a couple of years to rot down. I put it in my compost bin, and you put other stuff in with it. You empty the compost bin out after 6 months to see what's happened to what's rotted. Some of the other stuff, like the hedge cuttings and a bit of grass and stuff and leaves and whatever, they've started to rot, but the straw is still intact. It takes ages. I mean, this is the reason why they used it for animal bedding, because when it gets wet, it doesn't tend to rot. So I'm getting a bit of a build-up of it, because I've still got some from last year which I haven't got rid of yet. I do mix a bit in with the compost, but you empty the bin out. So you empty the bin out and you sort of keep redoing it all the time, and it's been a couple of years and some of it's still sitting in the bottom of the bin. But it's been so wet, it's actually starting to move, but it'll be like that for ages. You can't put that on the beds really. I suppose you could use it as a mulch. But I think these really do want to be uncovered. Let's see if I can get, it's still too heavy to lift. But I can see there's some of it in here. Look, the water's got right down. Look, there's even worms in that. Starting to decompose it a little bit. It actually feels warm. I mean, they're not going to freeze. This straw is very efficient at keeping in heat. But normally the wet doesn't penetrate down this far, but it's been so wet here. Let's see if that will come off. Because the other thing with straw, it makes such a mess. But, I mean, I could put fleece on. I don't trust fleece. It had a wind this year and it went down to say sort of -10 or -12. I don't think fleece has staved this. I really don't. But see, this will probably go to about -8, something like that. It's quite a substantial trunk, but you can see it's moving about. It's a bit mushy there. But what I'll have to do, oh, that one's still green, look. It's still green down there. So maybe these are green underneath here, but in case you don't know, these are Musabastews. The roots are fully hardy. Well, down to a reasonable level, I guess -15, something like that. But the trunks will only go down to about -8 when they're this sort of size. The smaller they are, the less temperature it will go down to. So a small banana, if you've got one down here and it's only sort of like that, you could easily lose it at sort of -5. But all that will happen is they'll die off to the ground, and they'll start from the ground again. But then you've got a year of waiting, and obviously if we can keep this at this height, it'll start growing. Well, you can see where it's growing from. It's growing from here. You haven't got to wait for it to grow all of this to get your display. The water has got right down here, all those layers. Incredible. But who knows what it's going to do. It does snow in April and we could get caught out, but I'll just have to stick something around them. See, this is what normally happens. See, down the bottom here, it's normally dry like that. Over a normal year, you get a bit of rain, but this year it's rained every day for months. It hasn't been a drying day at all. It's just been continually humid and wet. I think I'm doing right to do this. If I do get caught out, well I do. See right down the bottom here, it's that's what you would expect. It's still dry. That's what I had the other year when I got them out. When I do see some people using fleece on them, and you can now buy these bags which look really good for maybe not for bananas, for other stuff, where it's heavy fleece but it's got like a zip on it, so you haven't got to mess about trying to, oh god, they're so heavy. You haven't got to mess about trying to seal it up. You just unzip it like a coat when you need it, and it's very easy to take on and off. Now if you're fairly new to this, these type of bananas, they have these big giant paddle leaves on, which I've got in some other videos of the summer, and they're quite common to buy now. They're you can find them in most garden centres now. But what tends to happen is they'll get bigger and bigger. Eventually one of these will flower, and when they flower that stem will die, but the others will continue. And what they tend to do is they send off like little shoots, little pups around the bottom, and the grove tends to sort of gradually move around, so one will die and they'll get a new one grow up. See, this was originally one plant which was like this big chap, and all of these are have come off from, well actually I'm not sure about that one. I can't remember now whether I put two in here, but certainly these four are all from one plant, and we've got some out the front from one plant. So with just from like one plant you can suddenly have a garden full of bananas, and it will give it to your friends or whatever you want to do. And the pups, you want to wait till they're about 2 feet high and then cut them off. You don't want to cut them off when you see if they're about that tall. A bit dodgy, but you have to clear a big bit round the roots and gradually. It's what my wife normally does. That she's more patient than I am. You clear a really big back, try and get underneath it, do a clean cut, and then pot it up. Don't be tempted to put it in the ground. Pot it up and sort of grow it on a little bit before you then plant it out. I think I've done the right thing. I think these would have rotted if I left them for another few months, because they've got all of March, all of April, and really, you know, they say about not, you know, there's still a risk of frost to the end of May. So that'd be like 3 months with this forming like this. I think that would maybe start to have a problem. I've got around the front where it's only sunny in the afternoon. They're growing all right around the front. They're doing quite well. They get the sun. The sun goes up and around the house. So the sun rises over there, and then it sets over there, and the house sits just there. So once the sun has gone right the way around, with about 2 o'clock, they'll get sun right the way through. In the summer, it will get round to the sun go, you know, sort of 6, 7 o'clock, I guess. And they seem to be doing all right down there. And so obviously we'll only need about sort of half a day's good sunshine, but in the middle here, this is our sunniest spot. But if you've got them in a sort of partially shade or really shady area, they will grow, but they won't grow as big. They're like quite a sort of free drainage soil, but you have to keep them, you do have to keep them watered. If you live in a really windy area, then you'll get the leaves will sort of shred. I'm quite lucky here because the village sits in a bit of a dip, which has its disadvantages because it's a bit of a frost pocket. It's always a degree or so lower in temperature in here where I live than it is in Stevenage, which is a big town the biggest town near to us, which is only like 10 minutes drive, about half an hour's walk. And if I'm in the car and it's like -2 here, when I get to Stevenage it'll be like -1. And I've always thought, well, is it the car heating up? But no, but when you turn around and come back on the same journey, it'll be -1 in town, and by the time you get here, like 5-10 minutes later, it's -2 again. So it's definitely lower here. But it does mean that it's not quite as windy. It's easy to dry a bit down the bottom, isn't it? But if you live in a windy area, the leaves will shred. They sort of shred into like little fingers. I mean, I don't mind the look. I prefer them. It looks sort of quite like you see on one of these tropical beachfront areas where they get the shredded leaves where the wind's coming off the sea. But that is the only thing with them, I find. And of course, because they need a lot of watering, you've got to plant things round them which don't mind getting watered. This Musabastu, or I think the Japanese bananas or something people call them, they are the hardiest one and the easiest one to grow, and they're a really lovely plant. But there are others like the Sycamensis, which are sort of similar, but they're not quite as hardy. I think some people do grow them outside. And then of course your other bananas, you've got like your Ensets, the red bananas. They're totally different ball game. You can't have them left outside. You've got to store those because they're not hardy at all. Well, some people say they'll go down to -2, -3, and I've actually had a frost on the leaves, little bubbles form on the leaves, and they've been fine. But a prolonged frost or something, and they won't hack it. They come from Ethiopia. I think when they eat them, they sort of leave them outside all year, and they're these enormous things. And it feeds quite. I did a video on it. Quite interesting. So I mean, they're not eating the bananas because the insects. I don't think they give bananas, but they're sort of like a giant leek. They eat the actual plant. And I've never tried one myself, and I wouldn't recommend it either. But see what we're left with. Hey. Now those I've used old builder's bags for, but these ones, because they're a bit thinner, I've used these Hessian sacks. And Hessian is quite good. Monty Don uses a lot of Hessian, and I got the idea off of Gardener's World for buying some of these. And I looked online, and they're reasonably cheap, but they're quite versatile because I wrapped them around my tree fern. Let's see what this chap looks like. Ooh. I must admit, for February it does feel like a spring day, but I've had all this before, so I've worked outside a long time. I've been working outside a long time. I think I did my first paid job in about 1978. Give you some idea, I'm not as young as I look. I've had a few Februaries, but I've been sort of mid-February. I think one was the 10th of February, for some reason I remember the date. I was working out and just out in a t-shirt, just shoveling and stuff, and then it come cold later. So just because you have this warm spell in February, don't be fooled into thinking it's all over. And this is what I'm worried about, that I'll have to end up putting some of this back for the odd night. So I'm definitely not going to put this in the compost bin yet. I'll keep this to one side. The ones around the front, I've used this technique, which is just an ordinary bin bag. Well, they're a bit more than an ordinary bin bag. They're builder's bags, and I just sort of cut the bottom out, and of course you can save them till the following year. These are a little bit tougher than a bin bag. You just sort of stuff the straw in and away you go. But the Hessian, it does look a bit better, but if you want it to look more of an ornamental wrap, a bit more professional than a bin bag. But the only thing is with these, is like I'm having with this one, is they don't last forever. See, this one's 2 years old, and he's sort of torn a bit. He might be useful, but look, this is all like new growth. It wasn't like this when I put it. This has been over the winter. They put these on because we've had a few nice days, and this one's looked fairly green. And the lady, it's gone tropical. I mentioned earlier. A lady in South Wales, she's got a little bit of growth on hers as well. And she's got a beautiful garden. Her channel's well worth having a look at. And you can see how she's developed it right from the beginning. And she's used a lot of evergreens, and it's really quite a nice channel to have a look at. If you want to have a very relaxing channel, Sunday afternoon, stick that on. There are other channels, of course, other experts. I guess to give a shout out, but they don't need it because they've got a lot more followers than I have. There's Jungle George, who's pretty good. He's very interesting now. He's bought a new bit of guy. He's got a whole new garden to develop, which looks very exciting. He's already developed one garden, and then he's got this other massive bit out the back of his garden that he's going to develop. But if you're watching tropical videos, you probably will know him. And Yorkshire Chris, of course, he's like the oracle of tropical gardening knowledge. I don't know what he's doing, because he is. I went up to have a look at his Yorkshire Chris's garden when he had an open day on the NGS, and it's a fabulous garden. It's just like in a fairly standard road. It's got a nice house and that, but it's, you know, it's the garden isn't that massive, is what I'm saying. And had all this. He's built this beautiful, like one of these African jungle huts, you know, with the sort of pointy roof and that. He's got these fabulous bamboos, but the bit that I was really impressed with when you walk in, and he's got these sort of blue bamboos there, and you go, oh wow, he's sort of, you can feel your legs go weak as you go in. He's digging all that up and moving it, so he's obviously he's going to put some lawn down. So very interesting channel to have a look at, and you could learn a lot from him. He really knows his stuff. He's one of the longest going ones, I think. And then, while I'm talking about other channels, there's one I do like, is very interesting. He's really gone for the theming. He's Pocket Rainforest, which is Chris Bowers. Now his garden it's not very big, but when he does it, it's quite amazing. When he says do the videos of it, you think, oh wow, it's a massive garden, but he's really designed it well, and he's sort of a bit like I don't know, Australian type thing. He's got like a pond with a sort of sort of fake crocodile there, and it looks great. And he's also got real animals. Obviously, you can't have a real crocodile, but he's got like these pythons and these rare. Well, I don't know if they're rare. I don't know much about them. These sort of tropical insect things, you know, like tree, you know, these bugs, giant bugs and things. That channel's worth a look. I quite like that channel. Oh, and of course, while we're on the subject, the fantastic garden. This one of the it's amazing garden. It's Tiki Tropicals. Wow! Oh, and if you haven't seen him, if you've seen him, you know what I mean. Wow, what a great garden he has. And he goes and visits garden as well. Really knowledgeable guy. He's really enthusiastic. But he's got a beautiful garden, and he's another one who's got built one of these jungle huts, so it really looks the business. But it's put a new pond in, which follow it. It's about 18, 19 episodes. He's had a lot of problems. It's very interesting to see how he's dealt with them, and it's very honest, you know, about all the difficulties he's had, and really gives you an idea of what you're in for if you want to go, if you're really ambitious and you want to go for the sort of garden that he's going for. Because he has visited some other gardens, some of the other gardens that are online, and there's a couple of them which are absolutely somebody in Harriet's. I can't think what she was called now, what the guy was called. Simon, I think it's Simon and Harriet's garden somewhere. Well, what a garden that is. You want to look that episode up from Tiki Tropicals. They've got this amazing pond. You see what can be done with in Britain with this tropical gardening theme. It's incredible. It's something to aim for. But no, there we go. They're all done, and give them a bit of air. See what happens.